Welcome to Winning Retirement TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. Kristen, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing very well, thank you. Always a pleasure to see you. Greg, how are you today?
Doing awesome.
Good. I'm so glad that you're here today.
I am too.
Don't you
Yes.
feel left out?
I do. I didn't get the memo on
Where's
the
your
bright
pastel
jackets.
jacket? You should do pink or purple.
Ooh, yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I could rock it.
Did you?
Totally.
Oh, yeah.
Did
Cool
you
vibe,
know?
Cool vibe.
Did you know how red is the power color for men now? That for ties, it used to
Nice.
be pink.
Oh.
I think it was in the 20s. I read. And it was
Okay.
pink.
Wow.
Yeah. So
All
you
right.
should get with the pink trend.
Yeah, I don't know.
It could work. I think it'd be fun. We should try it
Yeah.
for one of our shows. Well, today's topic, this is very interesting to me because obviously so many people are wondering, how much money do I need to retire? So there was a recent Charles Schwab survey that was done talking about most people think that they need to save $1.8 million for a comfortable retirement. But for many of them, that number is simply a guess. So my question is, there's a Yahoo Finance article that's out there as well. The 5 biggest things that confuse Americans about retirement. Could we talk a little bit about that this morning?
Yeah, that
Oh, yeah.
sounds good. That sounds
Yeah.
good.
I think it's very interesting. Number 1, how much should I save? Do.
I would say steer clear of surveys or articles that tell you an exact dollar amount.
Okay.
Because it's different for every family. Every family spends a different amount of money. Greg's mentioned on the show before, we've had families who've made very little in their working life, 30, 40,000 a year, and saved a tremendous amount of money. So moving forward, they have a lot of money available for income, but they simply don't need it. And then we have families who've made really good money and gotten used to that lifestyle, a couple $100,000 a year, and they spend it. And maybe they've only saved $1 million or $2 million. Well, that number is totally different for them because they're going to need to generate more money off of that $2 million than the family who's used to living
Right.
very frugally is. So that number is going to be different for every family. So we go about it different ways, looking at how to get to that number.
For sure. And, you know, the way I look at it is we need to save at least enough to fill our income gap.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as we're doing our math and understanding exactly what it's going to cost us to retire, as far as how much we'll spend per year, and then we take account of all the income sources that we have, and we find the gap between the two. Here's how much I need to spend, here's how much I'll have coming in. Do we have enough saved to fill the gap?
Well, and I think it's important to point out that some people look at dividends as a income stream, right? Which is okay because it is income coming in, but those numbers aren't guaranteed.
No, they're not. And so you have to make sure of the source you're going to take it from, but enough to fill that gap. Then we also need enough to cover inflation over time.
Yeah.
And we also need enough to prepare for emergencies because, as you've heard often on the show, life happens to us. And so I know one family that came in several months ago. They had saved over $2 million.
Okay.
I mean, and so we started doing the inventory. We did the math. We figured out they needed an extra $120,000 a year to maintain the lifestyle they were used to.
Okay.
Well, on $2 million, it was going to be tight, you know, to do all the things we needed.
Can you imagine that? And most surveys
I
say
know.
save $1 million or save 1.5 million.
Exactly.
I know. I was just thinking that.
But you know, we were able to create a plan for them, but it was a tight plan. I had to work really hard to really put them in that position to make sure they weren't going to outlive their money.
Okay.
Yeah, we had another couple come in just last week that, you know, they came on board last week and they had saved $650,000, but they were both retired teachers. They both had, you know, master's degrees. They both had the higher level of income. And so they needed absolutely no extra income between their 2 STRS pensions. So they needed no stress on that $650,000. That was just going to be there for inflation and emergencies.
Wow.
So in their case, their $650,000 was a better job than the $2 million of the other couple.
Very interesting.
So it really is. So how much I need to save is really a personal thing.
And isn't it tied to that commercial too, that remember people were walking around, they had that number that appeared above their
yes.
head, right? So it was like,
Yeah.
okay, I need that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's amazing, but it's definitely not one size fits all.
Oh, no.
So the second question on this survey is, what should I invest in? Wow. What should I invest in? That's a big one.
So we're gonna break this down. And the first thing I'm gonna talk about is tax-wise.
Okay.
So when we're talking about as far as what we should invest in from a tax perspective, I'm gonna say the Roth IRA and the Roth 401k.
Okay.
Now, if you have a 401k at work, go to your HR manager, go to your 401k and find out, do they offer the Roth option? Because if they do, you can put this year $22,500 if you're under age 50.
Okay.
And if you're 50 and older, you can put $30,000 per year as a catch-up
Okay.
into a Roth. This is awesome.
That is wonderful.
And it's all, okay, you're going to pay your tax up front. Now your debt to society is paid. And so you pay your tax now at these low tax rates, and now forevermore and forevermore, that's tax-free. How much it grows, tax-free. When you take it out, tax-free. And guess what? If you do enough of that, when it comes time to take your Social Security, you may be able to eliminate the tax on your Social Security by taking it out of tax-free. So from tax-wise, the Roth.
Okay.
Okay. And now, as far as investments-wise,
Okay.
it's really based on ages.
Okay.
You know, your age and your risk. So there's two main classes. So there's an asset class where your principal's protected. Then there's asset classes where your principal's at risk.
Okay.
And within those two asset classes, there's three categories. There's the banking world, there's the brokerage world, and there's the insurance world.
Okay.
So the banking world is where we go for our liquid, needs, wants, emergencies. And so we know that money's safe. We know that money's liquid. The string attached or the risk associated with that is long-term inflation.
Okay.
Banks don't typically keep pace with inflation. All right, so there's a risk there, a risk you don't see though, and that you gotta be really careful of putting too much there. So then there's the brokerage world, stocks and bonds and mutual funds and exchange traded funds and commodities, alternative investments like private equity or venture capital, things like that, variable annuities, all those things are in the brokerage world.
Okay.
And there you have the most growth potential. There, for most part, your money's liquid too.
Okay.
So what's the inherent risk there? I can lose my money. There's market volatility risk. So then there's insurance companies. And there's a lot of haters for insurance companies. I don't love them. I don't hate them. They're just a tool. But there's life insurance. There's annuities. And in the annuity front, there's essentially three main types. There's fixed annuities that sort of look like a CD. They pay a fixed rate for a period of time.
Okay.
Fixed indexed annuities where you get part of the market gain when it goes up, but none of the losses when it goes down.
Okay.
And then variable annuities, and most of the bad news about annuities is typically in that world because the fees tend to be truly very high, and there's still the market risk there.
Okay.
So with annuities, you can get income that's guaranteed for life. You can have gains and also safety. So the string attached with insurance products or the inherent risk is liquidity risk. They're not 100% liquid.
Okay.
So you have to understand, okay, each of these are tools. How do they fit into a plan for me? You shouldn't have it all at the bank. You shouldn't have it all in the brokerage world. You shouldn't have it all in insurance things. So where you are based in your life would be determined as to how much you have in each.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, Greg and Kristen. Well, Kristen, there's a very special offer that you and Greg are going to present today. Let's talk about what that is before we open the phone lines.
Yeah, so we want to offer the complete planning review, and some of those items that we've just mentioned are a part of that process. And peeling back the surface and looking into what you have, what your needs are, what your income needs are specifically, and what you've saved, and to see if those numbers all add up to the grand equation of a successful retirement. So you get that offer by calling our office at 614-336-7660, or you can schedule now by clicking the QR code there on the screen or going to legacyretirementgroup.com.
Kristen, thank you so much. Greg, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call is 614-336-7660, or if you have your smartphone handy, go ahead, grab it, click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to Greg and Kristen's landing page. We're going to take a very short commercial break here, but don't go anywhere. We're talking about the 5 biggest things that confuse Americans about retirement. We're going to go to number 3 when we return.
Your retirement plan should never be about a transaction. It should always be about a relationship.
I would describe Greg as a very caring person. I'm not just talking about, retirement planning or even our practice. I mean, in general, he has a genuine heart for people.
Well, obviously, I'm married to the most wonderful, beautiful woman in the world, Kristen.
What you can expect from us is a warm family atmosphere.
I mean, they walk into the room, it just lights the room. They're each other's partner in crime. They work really well together and they keep us happy, and we're just like a tight little family here.
Family is obviously the reason we do everything, the reason we do what we do.
What we do is centered around our family. Our staff is like our family too.
We laugh so much in this office.
I love coming to work every single day and spending time with everybody that's in the office.
I like to say that we have a fun office environment.
There's never a dull moment.
Best bosses in the world. I just love my job.
They create a great work-life balance here.
You really have to like the person that you're asking to help you manage your money. And this is going to be a long relationship. Retirement could last as long as your working years.
So I've been working with retirees now since 1993, helping them create plans and strategies to get through retirement. We believe a retirement-focused portfolio should be true to your goals with as little risk as possible.
Welcome back to Winning Retirement TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. This is such an interesting show because obviously these studies, I think, are very amazing. And so here we are, top 5 things that confuse Americans. We're going to jump into number 3. This is a big one. We probably could spend the whole show on this one. But number 3, when should I retire?
Oh,
when?
goodness.
Wow.
Well, I think one of the biggest things, and you'll probably be surprised I say this, is healthcare. Because a lot of people, if they're looking at retiring before age 65, where Medicare would set in, that number for getting a healthcare plan that matches what they've been used to through their working years is sometimes astronomical, and sometimes they're not able to retire yet
Right.
because of those dollars.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, that can be a major cost. And, outside of healthcare expenses, you've got, the affordability to retire.
Sure.
So, can I pay my bills if I retire? That's always the
Absolutely.
thing.
That's a big one.
Is it going to be fulfilling to retire?
We like talking about that a lot because I think so many times we meet with retirees, people that have already retired when they come into our office, and you can tell there's a missing factor there, and it's not just the money. And sometimes the more money you have, we see it even more because what are you going to do with all that time? And really finding something. We do spend a lot of time on the show talking about that, whether it be a charity or doing something with your church or mission trips even. One of the ministries we like to support with our churches down in Guatemala, Dare for More Ministries, and Reba Bowman is just a tremendous dynamic speaker, and she does an amazing job of getting women out of trafficking and helping families come back together, and that we find that fulfilling. So we really encourage people to look for those things that will be fulfilling, something to do other than just worry about your money and what your investments are doing.
For sure. And, Cynthia, a really hard thing for some to adjust to is the social aspect.
Oh, sure.
Now some have such a core group of friends and, things they're involved in that it's no problem at all.
Yeah.
But others, they've kind of found their source of social life and interaction at work.
And we do that with our staff.
Oh, we do.
Our staff is our family. They're our friends. They know more about us than probably other people do because we're together every day.
Sure.
Yeah, we love them, and we appreciate our staff and our team, and we really are a team. We really do work together as one cohesive unit, and we all care and love for each other, and that's kind of the social network people need.
Yes.
Someone that they feel is invested in them and cares about them. And that's sometimes difficult to find, because if you're not plugged into a church, if you're not plugged into a group of some kind, that social aspect. So being ready for retirement is obviously about money, but it's not just about money. It's fulfillment, it's social life, it's healthcare, it's all those things, it's your purpose. And if you are ready, then the best way to know if you're ready is to be for sure that you're ready is to have a plan.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, and I think it's important to point out that that plan should start to take place the 5 to 10 year mark out from retirement.
Okay.
So if you're watching today and thinking, well, I've already retired, or I'm going to retire next year, is this, pedal to the metal? Not necessarily, but ideally gathering those things, getting your ducks in a row, if you will. We were
Yes.
talking to one of our colleagues, Mark Henry. You know Mark very
Yes,
well.
yes.
He's an awesome guy. He does what we do. And he has a Jeep. And I said, what's with the duck thing, on Jeeps?
Yes,
and
I've
so,
seen those.
yeah, you get ducked, I guess. That's a thing. So, I didn't know what it was, and I was curious because there's one that drives around Grove City with ducks in a
I see
row.
it all the time in
Yeah.
Charlotte.
Well, on our Disney cruise this past summer,
Yeah, that you get ducked on the cruise
yes,
too.
Jaden was looking all day long on the cruise for little ducks. So he came. I mean, he had all these little ducks.
And
He's bringing back to the room.
He put them in a row.
That's
but
so
this train
cute.
just got off the tracks
It did.
majorly. So
Get your ducks in a row, all right?
This is
I
a
love it.
squirrel, right?
Squirrel.
Yeah. So getting your ducks in a row and making sure all those things in order. And, we talked about some of the secondary things, but of course, financially is the number one thing you want to make sure is in a row when you're ready to retire. And the 5 to 10 year mark out, you can start making plans. So if it makes sense to start adding money into that Roth IRA, you can do that. You'll have time to start building those dollars up if you're getting those things in order early on.
That makes sense. Well, this next one, how can I know what my expenses will be in retirement? Wow. Number 4, how can I know what my expenses will be in retirement?
Well, now there's a couple of things to consider. Sometimes, as we're approaching that retirement date, we're really close to paying off our house. So you do have to, pay attention to upcoming debts that may be eliminated.
Okay.
Because if you have a $1,500 a month, principal and interest payment on your house, and that's getting ready to be paid off, okay, there's $1,500 a month that you're not going to have to shell out in retirement.
It's true.
But you want to be cognizant of not taking big chunks of tax-deferred money to pay the house off as well.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
For sure. But as we're trying to figure this all out, then we want to take inventory of everything we spend. And that's sometimes difficult because it's easy to, okay, I've got my property taxes, I have my, my utilities, I have my cell phone bill, I have, the regular recurring monthly expenses are pretty easy to calculate. But what's really tough to calculate is what we spend almost subconsciously.
Yeah.
Like, when we go to Walmart or to Target or one of those stores and you go for something, but you don't spend, $5 on something, you walk out with a cart full of things and you spend $150 on
Always.
things. And you weren't planning on that, but, that's part of what you're used to doing.
Yeah.
And people, because they're used to it, if they had to give it up, it would be uncomfortable. So once you figure out what you actually spend each year, now you've got your baseline.
Okay.
And that should include everything you do. Then we just go ahead and we figure out, okay, now we know what we were spending. Now we need to create an income plan.
These are amazing things that we're going through, and this is the perfect time for us to open the phones. Greg and Kristen, would you agree?
Yeah, it is. And all those things we've just talked about are a part of our complete planning review. And what's nice about the complete planning review, whether you do it before you retire or when you are already in retirement, say you've already gotten to that magical date and are thinking, man, I need to make sure that I'm pulling my income from the right sources. I'm investing properly for where I'm at life. I have my estate plans in order. You're going to make sure all those things are set. You can do that at any point in the process, whether it's 5 years out or 10 years out. Our complete planning review, 336-7660. That's 614-336-7660.
Kristen, thank you so much. Greg, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call is 614-336-7660. It's impossible to put a price tag on a complete planning review. This will be so invaluable to you. Remember, You've worked your entire life to get to the retirement years, and you deserve to have the retirement of your dreams. Why not reach out today and schedule that completely complimentary consultation? Again, 614-336-7660, or if you have your smartphone handy, go ahead, grab that. Click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to Greg and Kristen's landing page. Now, for those in the viewing audience who have been keeping track with where we are on this list, we still have number 5 to get through when we return. Stay tuned.
Living a life is building a legacy. A legacy of milestones. Your first home. Raising your children. Becoming grandparents. And memories. From the first steps across the living room floor to the walk down the aisle. At every stage, your family is the most important part of your life, and you want to protect them, now and in the future. Which is why the decisions you make today are so important. You've worked hard to provide a better life for your loved ones. Now is the time to make sure that lasts. Build a legacy that will influence generations to come. Plan smart. Retire well with Legacy Retirement Group.
Welcome back to Winning Retirement TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. Well, we have our final number 5 on this list of the top 5 things that confuse people during retirement. Here we are, number 5. This is a big one. How do I create an income stream in retirement?
That's the number one question, isn't it? I mean,
yes.
we've kind of gone through all of them, you know, am I ready and all those things, but it all boils down to income.
Show me the money.
Show me the money. That was a great part of it.
We talked about underwear at one point, and didn't he have underwear on in that? Okay.
Cuba Gooding Jr. I remember that from Jerry Maguire. That was a great movie. Show me. Okay, now we're deviating again.
Oh, gosh. One of our good friends who has helped us watch the boys since they were just little, and Jaden since he was a baby, they now have a little girl, and they call her Gigi.
Okay.
Well, they were over the other evening when I got home from work. They were over, and we were having taco night and just kind of chilling and talking to each other and having fun. And so she was singing. What was the song she was singing?
Yeah, she's 4 years old.
Yeah, so she was singing the Justin Bieber song, "Baby, Baby, Baby." And so from this little dance party thing,
we don't have rights to that music.
That is precious.
And so she has asked her mom to play it. The dance party music. Then she calls me Greggy. She says, "Greggy, dance with me."
Oh.
So,
and if you're watching right now and would like to see that video, and call
it's going to be big bucks to see that video. Okay.
I love it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So I don't know how I got on that, but income equals lifestyle. And whether you're crazy like me, you know, dancing to a Justin Bieber song in my kitchen.
Adorable.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And I do not have the moves for that, by the way.
No, he doesn't.
But I did my best, and she was okay with it. So, but understanding our need. And so, you know, we just talked about, you know, how much is it going to cost? And we had talked about taking inventory about what you spend. Well, then add about 10 to 20% to that. Because now you have more time, and time equals money. And so retirement does cost a little bit more than pre-retirement, we've discovered. So understanding that, then we do the math. We help people do the math every day of the week in our office, and it's so much fun.
Doing the math, being as cognizant as possible about taxes.
Okay.
Because where you draw your money from is going to dictate how much you're paying in taxes.
Oh, for sure. But I have this wonderful income plan software that I use, and we pull it up in the office, and we start going through line by line each income source you're going to have, when it's going to kick in, how much you want for income, how much inflation we're going to plan for, and we put together your income plan. And then I go to my income planning team and I say, okay, here's the gap. I want to use the absolute least amount of money possible to fill that gap. And that's what we're trying to do with the income. We want to use as little as possible. I mean, we just had a family come in and they needed $42,000 a year right away. He retired this past summer. And so we needed $42,000 now. And we were able to do that, and they were both in their early 60s, for under $700,000.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, if you use the old 4% rule, half in stocks, half in bonds, pull out 4%, you needed over $1 million to accomplish that.
Okay.
So we were able to do it for under $700,000 in their income plan, and that gave them way more money to grow. So this is all what it's all about, using as little as possible. And then we can use dividends for extra things like when you want to buy a car, if you want to take that, trip of a lifetime vacation, things like that, but not what you need to pay your bills every day.
Well, and you may be watching thinking, Greg, Kristen, I don't need as much income as you're talking about, but you really do. That lifestyle income is important, because if you're just invested heavily in the market, are you going to go and sell a holding to go on a trip?
Probably not.
Are you going to go and sell a holding to buy a new couch or do something, that you've been holding off on doing, but there's enough money there to do? You're not going to do it. And I point that out because I think that's where we've seen the most animosity and issues. We joke that our conference room is also a counseling table, because
sure it is.
Sometimes it becomes that, and
We have
it doesn't
tissues
always.
there.
I'm sure it
We
is.
It
have
doesn't
tissues.
always, if you're not a touchy-feely person, don't worry, we're not going to make you open up and do that. But it just happens naturally, because money is such a personal thing.
It is.
And so many times as we're discussing something with a family, whether it be a husband, wife, in some situations, it's friends that kind of combine their incomes. We've had that. And take care of expenses. You're smiling because that's what I want to do in retirement.
Yeah.
There's different things that happen in the conference room table, and we start working through what makes sense for the family combined. Yeah. And I think that's really important, to try to address all the needs and concerns.
And to me, the reason the income plan is so important, because some people have a hard time giving themselves permission to spend money because all they've ever done is save it.
Absolutely.
And let me just say this, that time and health are your most precious commodities. Your money is just a tool to use while you have your time and health to help your life be more fulfilling. Mm-hmm. And if you can use that tool the way you really dreamed of doing it, then a proper income plan gives you the ability to do that.
Yeah.
Now you have your liquid money, you've got your growth money, and you've got that income money that's there working for you every single day to give you that confidence that things are going to be all right. And that's really what it's all about. The income plan can give you confidence.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Greg, thank you so much. Kristen, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, there's a number to call on your screen. That number is 614-336-7660. You shouldn't be confused in retirement. You saw from today's study that we had from Yahoo Finance that those are the top 5 questions. Have a retirement plan drawn up. It's completely complimentary. Again, 614-336-7660. Thank you for spending time with us today on Winning Retirement TV. Be safe, be happy, and be blessed. We'll see you back here 1 week from today. Take care now.